Hello and welcome to the Two Step Podcast. I'm Bag, and joining me as always. Oh God, why am I hearing myself? Why am I hearing myself? I'm Bag, and joining me as always. Oh God, why am I hearing myself? Why am I hearing myself? Why am I hearing myself? Dude, what is going on? Hold on. What the? Do you hear that?
No.
I'm still hearing it. Wait, where is it unmuted?
Alright, great intro. Second week in a row.
No, seriously,
Would you believe that we're professional?
No, seriously,
This is not our first time doing this.
Alright, anyways, I have no idea. It randomly stopped, but I still don't know where it was coming from. I actually didn't have anything up. Anyways,
let's do that again.
So yeah, same as last week. Just don't worry about that. That didn't happen. No.
Got the cold intro, baby! Hell yes!
Back to starting. We didn't stop.
2 weeks in a row!
It was just a mistake. Here we go. Hello and welcome to the first time that we've said this tonight. I'm Bag and this is Mag.
Hello!
And today we're going to talk some trash, dude, about some things, about some stuff. This is totally the first time that this happened.
Talk some trash, man. If we're not careful, the chat's gonna talk trash about us.
Yeah, dude. We're very professional streamers here. You saw that nice new stinger that I got going, right? I'm a super professional streamer. Hell yeah, bro.
It's not professional until I get paid. Oh wait,
okay.
I have.
All right. Anyways, so, yo, what's up, Dubbred? Yeah.
Oh, I better turn this music down.
Feel free to talk some trash because I deserve it. I still don't know why that happened. Like I straight up I didn't find anything. I still don't know. It just disappeared. Like I checked all of my windows and everything and.
But did you check your doors?
Anyways, so a couple things to talk about tonight. As always, now at least, not as always, you can find the topic list on our Discord. You can find that, where is it? Let me actually get that.
Oh, good. Good. Stage 2 music, Mario. I know this music.
We need to link the Two-Step Discord. I need to put that underneath the stream as well.
Yeah, oh, that's the thing I forgot.
Yeah. Well, the Two-Step Discord is open. Let me get you a link. I'll put it in the chat for right now.
Specifically, what I forgot to do, though, is what I want to do at some point is add a command to the chat. You know, Discord command.
Why did your invite, like, disappeared? It just says nothing now.
Wait, really? Has it expired? What?
It just says never expires, but alright, there's a new one.
Doing it live, boys!
That's just for today. I don't know what happened to that. But anyways, you can join it there. You can see you can see the podcast material. Yeah, I just made a new one, just an instant.
Yeah, but I can't even see it. Like if you look at invites, it doesn't even show it.
Professional streamers, professional podcasts.
Fuck you.
Anyways,
I'm copying yours in my chat.
Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, you can join it there. You can see the topic list in the podcast material channel. So if you want to see some of the stuff that we're talking about, say we don't bring it up or something like that, look at it there. Anyways, this is a good song. First thing we're going to talk about today is something that it's been a long time coming. And this is something that honestly I'm pretty excited for. I didn't play the last game in the series that came out, but I'll probably play this one. We have a new BioShock game coming out. Yeah, I didn't play I didn't play Infinite.
You didn't play Infinite?
No.
Really? What, you didn't play Infinite? And you didn't play Burial at Sea? Do you even know the storylines?
I played
because they're kind of important.
I played all the ones before that. Whenever BioShock the new one is coming out soon, I'll play those. But yeah, but I'm just pointing out to you, right, that BioShock Infinite is fine. It comes off as being a completely separate game, right? But when you play Burial at Sea, it's completely fucking interconnected. As in, all of the games get completely the loop between all the games closes with BioShock Infinite Burial at Sea. And I'm just surprised you never played it. Because BioShock Infinite is kind of... Well, BioShock Infinite specifically works as a standalone, and I'm sure you know most of it by now in the sense that you have this chick, right, who fucking can basically travel between different dimensions, or different timelines, essentially, right? Yeah, so you can kind of see how that works with regards to Rapture,
I can't remember what it was called. It's been a while.
Yeah, so we will see because I have no more. I don't have very much. I don't have very much information about Infinite or.
There isn't. Oh yeah, it's alright. I thought it was good. Bit of a shitty forced mindfuck at the end, but otherwise it was alright.
The new BioShock game apparently has been in development for about 6+ years now, right?
Immediately after they made BioShock Infinite, they said they started working it based on the timelines in these articles. Yes,
it's better be like,
but it's
nuts.
But with a different developer. Yeah, it was with somebody else though. I can't remember the name off the top of my head.
You're hoping that BioShock 4 goes back to their horror roots. That would be cool. I mean,
I agree. No, I agree.
It was the first two games were definitely the horror aspect was very cool. I did enjoy that of it. They're
supposed to be spiritual successors of System Shock. Mm-hmm. And if you've never played System Shock, do yourself a fucking favor and play the shit out of that one, or at least do yourself a favor and play the shit out of the second System Shock, which is the superior version. Mm-hmm. Because if you haven't played System Shock 2, you are missing out on basically one of the best video game villains of all time. But ignoring that, they're horror kind of games with a big technological kind of magic-y feel, and BioShock has that whole like RPG mechanic kind of thing. I think it's a very watered down spiritual successor of System Shock, but it has the theme, the thematic of down, horror game.
Yeah,
spoopy.
I did enjoy
evil machines.
I did enjoy BioShock was one of the first games that I remember from when I originally was like starting to like really play video games, right? Like that was one of the first ones where I was like getting into like actually like fully enjoying and understanding video games. It was one of the first games that had that like a twist that got me, right? So
yeah. Without spoiling anything, the twist is great.
It was one of those games. Well, I mean that game came out so long ago. Can we really call it a spoiler at this point? That's like spoiling Mario Brothers or something, dude. Like it's been a long fucking time.
Mario Brothers doesn't have a fucking story though. Let's be honest. Oh no,
the princess is in another castle, dude.
The story is that you never get the princess, right?
The story is that the princess purposefully goes and fucks Bowser and just tries to run from you constantly because you're an abusive plumber that doesn't make enough money, and Luigi is your retarded brother that unfortunately suffered brain damage as a child, and you're just feeding him mushrooms and going to the Magic Kingdom. So we're not going to get into that. So anyways.
Really? I feel like we should get into that.
No, I don't think we should get into that. So anyways, but yeah, so I mean, it was one of the first games that got me with the twist, right? Because I had played games, I'd played games before where there was a twist, but I was just like, oh, I was expecting that. You know what I mean? It's like I wasn't just like, holy shit, what the fuck just happened? Yeah. So it was one of those. It was the first one where I was like, "Whoa, what the fuck just happened?" Instead of being like, whatever. So it's like, it has a special place, in my fucking heart when it comes to video games. But the second one I didn't like as much, and then when I saw Infinite, the thing is that I saw Infinite and I was kind of disappointed with how it looked, so I never played it. Right? That was my thing.
It's not a horror game.
Yeah,
it's not a horror game, but it has a really good twist on it.
So that's good. So I guess I'll play that at some point before the new one comes out.
So I think it's better gameplay personally than BioShock the first one, which you expect, right? You expect the third game to be at least somewhat better, right? Fine.
Same with Borderlands.
I don't think the storyline. I don't think the ending of BioShock Infinite is as good as the ending of BioShock 1. Again, I think Ken Levine went for all of those kind of mind fucks. Mm-hmm. After BioShock 1, and even with BioShock 1, the ending is supposed to be a bit of a mindfuck, and I think he went ham in Infinite, and it's not bad, but the reality is that, I don't know about BioShock 4. I mean, I love Ken Levine, alright? There's a reason why I love Ken Levine. It's because he fucking helped make the first game I just mentioned that everyone should be playing. Mm-hmm. System Shock 2, right? And Thief. Oh god, if you haven't played Thief. Look,
I think I played
If you have never fucking heard of Looking Glass Studios and you've never played any of their games, then you are living under a rock, my friend, and there are just years of games that you could be enjoying right now, okay? That's all I'm
Patrick Star. So.
But yeah, I don't know. BioShock 4 doesn't look like it's not going to be made by the same developers as old, so... And BioShock, in my opinion, kind of needs that good writer.
Yeah, I mean... It's one of those things where there may be new writers that are just as good. You never know. We'll have to see what happens.
And before Chris Avellone writes it.
Yeah,
I mean, why not? He does every other good story in the fucking video game industry.
It's something good to look forward to. BioShock's definitely a good series to look forward to. Next thing on
it's
the list
motto, baby. We're gonna have to see.
This is actually super interesting, and I'm not 100% like. I don't know how I feel on it, right? Like, I'm not sure how it happened, but Hideo Kojima is currently in talks with Konami, the people who fucked him. So I'm not like a Hideo Kojima like super duper fanboy. I think that a lot of the games that he's made are really good. I'm not the kind of person who just dick rides him constantly, but this is interesting because it's a new Silent Hill game.
Yeah, the thing is too is that as far as I'm concerned, yeah, we could say fuck Konami all we like, but the reality here is that Hideo Kojima has always had a bad reputation for being really, really bad at actual project management, right?
Yeah.
He misses deadlines, he misses milestones, he's got a very, very well-established history of that. It's not really surprising that Konami finally decided to just dump him. I mean, can you really... I'm just going to fix my webcam here. Can you really blame them for that? No, as far as I'm concerned, you can't. But it's kind of interesting. But on the other hand, Hideo Kojima for like years must have been one of the most persuasive, charming motherfuckers in the industry because they keep letting him make games. So maybe that's why they just he sucks a really good dick. Maybe Hideo Kojima sucks dick like nobody else.
It's probably one of those things where they realized that the games couldn't be made without him. Because look at what happened with Metal Gear Survive. That game fucking died, right? Like, the thing about it is that even though he is absolutely nuts and probably a really difficult person to work with, it's obvious that he produces some level of results, right?
He's the George Lucas of fucking video games.
Yeah.
Alright, that's my opinion.
So, the problem is that we now see what happens when he's left to his own devices. That's the problem. We now see what happens when he is fully in charge and no one is saying no to him, right?
Because George Lucas!
Yes. So we see what happens, right? It's very obvious that Kojima needs someone to ground him, that he needs, like, deadlines, and he needs people to be saying things like, hey, dude, grounded. This shit is a little bit ridiculous and not really fun, aka Death Stranding. He needs to be put
into the corner and beat...
So
what?
So I would be excited for a new Silent Hill game because if Konami is involved, that means that there will at least be someone being like, hey, dude, chill. Like, this is ridiculous. You want me to play 40 hours of a delivery game? I don't want to play fucking Amazon Delivery System Simulator, dude. I could go do that and get paid money for it instead. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, but
So, like, yeah, that's probably not a good idea. By the way, I don't endorse I don't endorse being a delivery man in any sense. Not even just because of Amazon. I think Amazon is fine, but being a delivery man seems like a stressful job, dude.
Yeah, no, that's...
And then you get yelled at for, like, gently tossing things onto people's doorsteps, even though the packages have been horrendously abused when they're actually being, like, processed in the delivery centers.
I mean, I don't think people should do that anyways, because it just looks bad. And the reality is that look is all that matters to most people. So.
That's the problem. It's like, what they do most of the time, I mean, there's differences where people, like, fucking, worse, like, pitch some packages and shit, but you see people, like, there was one on Reddit, right? Where he just kind of like gently slid it in, and everyone's like, dude, fuck this guy, he's horrible, what's wrong with him, get the pitchforks out. And it's like, dude, this shit gets fucking abused in the centers.
There's a reason why they tell you that if it can't survive, if you're not completely sure that it can survive a 2-meter drop, then it's not good packaging.
Yeah, dude. I mean, they take things worth thousands and thousands of dollars and they pitch that shit. And the thing about it is a lot of it is just mechanical, right? Like, they just have the mechanical, the machines it's just dropping and tumbling and all kinds of shit. Last year you were a UPS helper for the holiday season, and man, oh man, was it hell. Dude, I know that, like, UPS hires extra during the holiday season. That's gotta be an absolute fucking nightmare. I can't even imagine, like... I worked retail for a long time, and I talked with our UPS driver, right? He was always in a super big hurry. Kind guy. But, like, during the holiday season, he just looked disheveled and sad and upset just constantly. So I can only imagine. Like,
yeah, he was just so much more stressed. Fucking delivery driver.
He was fine for the most of the rest of the year because he was so fast at getting stuff done.
And then on Christmas, he realized, fuck, what am I doing with my life? I'm delivering fucking packages for shitty ass fucking retail companies.
Whenever he was doing it, this was a while ago, but he basically had a certain amount of things that he had to deliver every day, and if he got those deliveries done, he was done for the day, right? So he was super fast, and he would get done probably about an hour earlier than normal, and he still got paid the same amount.
What?
I don't know if it's the same.
Yeah, that's pretty good
now.
That's good though, because I would like that, because I would like to do it as fast as fucking possible, right, and then just leave.
Yeah. Because the thing about it is it encourages them to get the packages delivered quicker, which is good for the business, good for everything, and at the same time, it gives them, like, legitimate encouragement, right? It's not just like, hey, dude, let's go, come on, you gotta get that package delivered, like, an hour before it's supposed to be there so the people are happy about it. It's like, dude, get your stuff done and you can go home and get paid the same amount of money. It's like, alright, good, that sounds fucking great to me. So
it's funny too. It's funny, like, so many industries could benefit from that in general. And the 8-hour workday is
bullshit.
It's just a tradition. It's just a total tradition. The reality is that you could actually do a 6-hour workday, or even maybe like slightly less than that, and be just as productive.
Oh yeah, because, it's been proven.
I mean, it doesn't matter. It's been proven mostly in the fact that most of the productivity of a company is down to management, not really how many hours people work. And after they work so many hours, their productivity just drops like a rock, which is why crunch in video games is so fucking pointless. Because basically, and it's just an exponential loss. After 8 hours, right, your fucking productivity just drops in half immediately, almost immediately, right? And then as you continue on, you start getting 12-hour work days, and you're not even at half productivity at that point. You're just a fucking drooling slob in the fucking middle of an office or a factory or wherever you're working. Miserable hours.
Yeah, I think there's like I think there's some people who can handle it. Like there are specific individuals that can do it. Like Elon Musk was one of those people where he was working like 100-hour weeks.
Okay, so
and he's probably on amphetamines. So
unfortunately, the problem with Elon Musk is that he then expects everyone that he ever works with to be like that. That's just
that's his big problem. But besides that, there was a study that was shown that on average, like you said, the peak of amount of work done is right at about 6 hours, right? Like once it gets past 6 hours, you start becoming less useful, and once you eclipse 10 hours, it massively drops. Like the amount of work that you get done is like nothing after 10 hours.
The thing is that, and so the question always remains is, from a business perspective, right? And this is why crunch and overtime, this is one of the reasons why, like, tradies, for instance, tradesmen work so long hours. Tradesmen work long hours, and factory workers too. They work long hours because they've always worked long hours. Yeah. For the most part, they're used to 12-hour days, right? So they do that. But the question from a business perspective is it worth... From a business perspective, is it worth paying them for a 12-hour shift, knowing that for the 4 hours after for the 4 hours after the initial 8 that they'll be less productive? Is it worth paying basically the same rates for less productivity, or just fucking like letting them work longer, like shifting the deadline? Like what would be cheaper, I guess? Paying your fucking workers more money, working fucking more hours, or spreading the deadline out?
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's there was a
question.
There was a study in
done the math on that.
There was a study in Japan. You know how Japan is notorious for having horrendous work hours in business culture, right? I mean, these are people working like 80 hours every single week for their entire life, and people die from it because they overwork themselves. So there was a company that went over and started a business in Japan, and they maxed the work hours at 35, and it was a maximum, right? Like it wasn't like at GGG, for example, where they're like, oh, you don't have to work overtime ever, but I can assume that people are semi-expected to, right? Like when shit's coming around.
That's how crunch works in a lot of industries.
Yes.
In a lot of the video game industries. It's not required, but if you don't, then you're not a team player. Oh, really? Well, you're a cocksucker.
So this is a company where they maxed it at 35 hours per week, and they only worked 4 days, I think, is what it was, right? Was it only 4 days? It was like 4 times.
So that's the other one too, right? 8-hour shift. Like if you do like 8-hour shifts, but fucking 4 days a week instead of like 4 days on, fucking 2 days off, for instance, even that alone, that is significantly better for productivity and morale rates. Morale like boost, right? 4 days on, 2 days off, bare minimum.
Yeah, so it was like
but again, you have to pay. you have to pay people the same amount, and companies obviously don't want to do that.
And see, that's always been the thing for me, is that I would be perfectly willing to take a drop in the amount of like overall money that I earn, just so that I don't have to work as much, as long as I can survive off of that amount of money, right? Like, a lot of the time, I feel like not killing myself working is much more enjoyable just for my life in general than, like, because there was a point in time, okay? So when I worked retail, I was a department manager, right? And there was this I worked about 40 hours, right? Most of the time it was 38 and a half, right? That was about what I worked. It was 5 days and it was about 7.5 hours is what I worked because I had a lunch.
Yeah.
That was okay, right? I still felt pretty drained every week because of working 5 days and they weren't like consistent shifts, right? Because when you work management and retail, you work whenever you have to. That's what it comes to. Yes. You don't get to work when you want to, right? The upper management gets to do that, but you don't. So what ended up happening at one point is my boss and my boss's boss were apparently fudging numbers, not even in the sense that they were making themselves look better. They had a big giant return, right, of like tens of thousands of dollars.
Oh, is this that story you told me years ago?
Yes, and when you and when you do a huge return in one situation like that, it completely ruins your quarter, right? So what they ended up doing is they just stretched these returns out over months and months and months instead of doing it all at once. And middle management, district management found out about this, canned them, right? Well, guess what happens when the two top managers in a store disappear, right? When the general manager and the sales manager disappear, and all that's left is me as a department manager, a position that we don't have filled, it doesn't exist. Go ahead.
What's funny about that is that they probably would have been fired if they had done it normally anyways, because their returns would have looked terrible. So they would have just been fired for that.
I don't think they would have been fired, honestly, because it was
they would have been alright?
Yeah, I think they would have been fine, because the thing about it is that it was just a sale. It wasn't something that was expected. So the thing was that previous section was way over what they expected to be. So the next one being under, they would have just evened out. I mean, it's just something that happens, right? So it wasn't even their fault in the first place that the return happened. It was a fault of the company that made the computers that they bought. It was a school. It was a school for underprivileged children. They bought the computers and there was some kind of defect and they were all just dying, right? And the company would not honor the warranty because they were in such quote unquote poor condition because kids are using them, right? So there was nothing that they could do, so they had to take the returns. But anyways, so what ended up happening is these two people got fired, and I ended up having to work 7 days a week, 12-hour days, for almost 2 months.
Oh God, I remember that too.
And
because that was right at the time when we did rating.
I had to quit. Remember, I had to actually. That was when I quit and leaving. Yeah. That was when I quit.
Yeah.
So it was just too much. I just couldn't do it. So the idea was that the money was too good for me to turn down because I was making overtime, and I mean I was pulling in like, so I was working 12-hour days. I was taking an hour lunch every day, and I was working 7 days a week. So that's 11 times 7. That's 77 hours a week. So I was getting 37 hours of time and a half, right? So
Why don't you just become a game dev at those hours?
I was making 2.5 times the amount of money that I was normally making, right?
Yeah.
So completely worth it money-wise. But after that, I made a promise to myself that I would never ever take a situation like that again unless I had to, right? I would never work 80+ hour weeks constantly. Like, doing it once is fine, right? It's not that bad. You can deal with it once. Once you start getting a month in, and the problem is that it was just me and one other guy, right? Like, we were each working. We each had to. The reason we had to do 12-hour shifts is we were covering half of the day.
It should be noted that it's different when you're not doing what you like. For instance, Elon Musk worked 100-hour shifts for the reason that he liked doing what he did. He likes to do that. He was doing what he liked to do. But if you're working 80-hour shifts at a fucking retail store, nobody wants to fucking work retail. Like, fuck off.
No.
Fuck that.
Dude,
nobody wants to do sales for 80 hours. Like, Jesus.
And manage other people. The thing about being a manager in retail is that you're basically just... I make this joke all the time, but nothing prepared me for managing retail like running a fucking WoW rating guild. Nothing prepared me like that did.
Because you're basically fucking taking care of a bunch of children who don't really want to be there and don't really care about if they're not there or not. They don't care about getting punished. You're trying to convince them to show up to a job that they don't really give a fuck about, and if you can't fucking de-incentivize them enough, well, they don't give a shit. They'll just go find some other useless fucking job. Yay.
That's how it goes.
But in any case, I think we have spoken enough about the fucking working environment of retail and long hours. Jesus.
So we can move on. So yeah, Hideo Kojima, new Silent Hill game. It's in talks.
It's gonna be good.
It's not confirmed.
I don't ask how that's related to the topic we just spoke about, but it probably is.
We were talking about Death Stranding, and then we talked about Amazon workers, and we talked about overworking.
That's the segue.
That was the progression. Yeah,
that's the segue.
So
the
next thing is go ahead.
I'd like to point out, though, just real quick, this is the reason we Bag and I decided to do a podcast, because we segue into the weirdest fucking shit. Dude. That was the reason, right? So it's fine, but maybe back on topic a little bit.
Because that's the thing is, right, is like the people come in for the gaming news, but I feel like something that a lot of people stay for is the fact that we get so off topic. It's insane.
Coming for the gaming news, stay for the retail banter. Yeah.
It's just we get so insanely off topic because we've categorized this podcast as just talking about anything, right? Like we really will just talk about literally anything.
Which is also why we don't have a topics list anymore, by the way.
We felt that it was we felt that it was limiting us because the thing about it is. Go ahead.
Well, I think personally. When we did it the first time, because this is not the first time we've tried the pod. If you've ever looked at our YouTube channel, you'll notice we have tried it before. I think the biggest thing is that starting with the topic list was good. It gave us a little bit about structure, right? And I think that's good. But now we've gotten into it a bit more than we did last time. We don't need it anymore. It's fine. We have a bit of structure outside of the actual fucking podcast that we don't need to have it inside of the podcast.
Yeah, so we're kind of like I think that one thing that Mag and I have both kind of learned now. We just went on a tangent about workout. Yeah, dude. Like I said, it happened. but I think
time for another tangent, by the way.
One thing that Mag and I have learned about, because this isn't the first time that either of us have pushed really hard for streaming and pushed really hard for the podcast and all this kind of stuff, right? This is not the first time that we tried this. The last time that we tried it, I was pushing really, really hard. And I was doing it so much that I was like not enjoying myself anymore, right?
Weren't you still working retail as well at that time? So it's just like double terrible?
No. So this was
did you get your new job?
This was after I got my new job and my freedom opened up a little bit. But I was streaming twice a day for 4 to 5 hours per stream, if not longer than that. Every day, twice a day, every day.
Which, for the record, if you're looking to grow as a streamer, streaming as long as possible is probably your best method, but it will drive you crazy, which is what it did to us.
That's the idea, is that there's levels to it, right? So the absolute best thing that you can possibly do to grow is stream very long hours very consistently. However, just almost as good, about 75% as good, as streaming shorter hours that are manageable for you consistently at the same exact times, because you'll do it for longer.
Consistently is just better.
Yeah.
But again, another tangent.
But anyways, the thing that I wanted to talk about is the fact that Black Mesa, which if you haven't heard about it, is the remake of the original Half-Life series, original Half-Life game. Sorry, is now fully playable from start to end. So
yeah, man. Have you seen it?
I played it when it came out before Zen came out.
Yeah, me too.
So I played through all of that, and it's great, right? Like I really enjoy it.
It is.
But
I think it's a lot. The balance is a little iffy because I think the soldiers are significantly harder in Black Mesa. Yeah. Specifically, Black Mesa is basically Half-Life Source. Right, it's Source version of Half-Life. That's the idea. They've refactored some of the maps. It's got way better graphics because it's not just putting it. It's just putting it in the game into Source. It's not Half-Life Source legit because there is a Half-Life Source. It's what Half-Life Source would be if they also updated the shit out of the graphics and then refurbished the maps a little bit here and there. They removed, I believe, a few chapters like on the rails because it's just tedious and nobody likes it. But otherwise, it's pretty true. Except that the soldiers are really fucking hard to kill compared to the original game. But the original game was actually pretty hard, in my opinion. If I remember, like I played the original game recently. It's a lot harder than I remembered it being.
The thing about it is that I don't think it was particularly harder for me. I think that I was just, when it came out, I was very young, and I was just not very good at video games in general, right? I think it was more frustrating than hard. I think is what it felt like to me. That may just be me, but the idea for me was that Half-Life 1 it was way less forgiving than Half-Life 2 was, especially with pretty much everything, right? Like the mechanics, the guns, the saving and loading, all of that was just way less. I don't know how to describe it. It was way less agreeable, right? When Half-Life 2 came out, it had upgraded to the Source engine, and it was just a much differently paced game. And wow, I got like the worst hand fucking possible. That's terrible.
I just got wrecked myself.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Go ahead.
So, but they well, the thing is with Black Mesa, the only thing they didn't have was Xen, the last area of the game, and the last area of the game of the original Half-Life is considered generally to be the weakest part.
Yeah, it's
primarily
just
because
weird.
It just chucks you a bunch of powerful enemies all at once, all the time. Mm-hmm. A bunch of puzzles that are not particularly interesting. A landscape that's visually not particularly impressive. I think it's fine conceptually. It makes sense that we go to the fucking homeworld of the aliens and beat the shit out of them. Or whatever. But it didn't really work out in-game. And so Black Mesa was struggling, the team that made Black Mesa was struggling with whether they were going to remake it entirely from scratch or what. Ultimately, I think they decided to remake most of it. It's been a long time coming, and for the record, you can't get it for free yet. So Black Mesa was a free mod for the longest period of time, and I still think you can download Black Mesa for free. But to get the Xen, because it's technically in an open beta, to get Xen you have to pay the $24 or it's like $20. It might be slightly more less now. I don't know what it actually is in American money. In US dollars, yeah, you have to pay for it either way though. You have to pay for Black Mesa if you want to play it on Steam. And that will have the open beta for Black Mesa Xen, which looks good, in my opinion. But I haven't played it.
I think it should be fun. I think I will definitely play it, but I do agree with you. I think that the problem is that it's like a lot of older games, right? What ends up happening is that they have this story idea, and everything's good. It's building, and then they get to this point where they're like, now what do we do to end it, right? Because the thing about Half-Life is that the ending always had to be fixing the problem that started, right? Because there was a resonance cascade, and they opened up a portal to Xen itself, and they were getting flooded by monsters. So everything is good. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, well, noting that in the end of Half-Life, they don't even fix that problem, so...
Yeah, so the idea is that they're building, and then they probably had this decision that they had to make. They're like, well, what the fuck do we do now, right? Like, how do we end it? And I feel like the way that they ended it is that there wasn't a lot of exposition in the original Half-Life. It was mainly just you figured out the story.
It was very show not tell. Yeah, show not tell.
And what happens is you get all the way up to Lambda, and you jump into the portal, right? From that point until the end, the story doesn't fully make sense, and it doesn't feel normal anymore, right? Like, the aliens invading and everything is fine, but... Go ahead.
Yeah, it's because you're going into the land and you're thinking how much... The biggest thing is because you know through your stuff and through what you've experienced in the original Half-Life that this resonance cascade has been causing the issues. And you don't really know what that is. What's a resonance cascade? All you know is you put a fucking shiny gem that comes from an alien planet, which you learn through the course of the game. You learn through the course of the game that the scientists, right, your peers... and other research teams have been going into this other border world, they call it, and been collecting these samples. And those samples are what you have been testing on, what your research division has been testing on, right? And all you know is that your testing of a new fucking gem has caused portals to open up and aliens to spew out. So naturally, it just makes sense to you that you've got to go through the portal and destroy whoever's controlling them. And that ends up being a fucking alien called Nehalanth. But you're not really ever told how he's controlling them. And you're never really told what happens after you kill him, because G-Man starts getting involved at that point, right? So the whole time you're in Xen, it's just this weird fucking, like, fever dream. You're like Alice in Wonderland wondering what the fuck's going on. Because...
It's honestly a pretty big problem with the game. Like, I feel that the issue is that they introduce all of these things, but they never clench it, right? Like, they never tie it together. It's like, okay, so you go to Xen and you fight this big bad guy. Who is this big bad guy? You know what I mean? It's like...
Yeah, wow. It's like, just some random fucking dude that you've never seen throughout the entire rest of the game. It's a random alien.
You haven't heard about him? You haven't realized anything?
No.
And then in the second game, it starts to make a little bit more sense. Like,
but it's even worse because in the second game, the Vortigaunts are your allies. You wake up 20 years later or whatever, and the Vortigaunts are no longer killing you, and you're like, what? Why are the Vortigaunts no longer killing me? You're not. How are you supposed to know that they were slaves to that alien you killed in the first game? Because nothing in either game really tells you that for ages.
Yeah, it's actually only explained through randomly talking with the Vortigaunts. It's not part of the story. Yes. You never learn that. Yes. You actually have to go to the Vortigaunt. You have to go to that guy in the sewer pipe, right? He tells you all about it.
Oh god, yeah. And that guy's a fucking hidden piece of shit. For your first playthrough, you'd be forgiven for not seeing that. Look, and that's Half-Life in general, for the record. Mm-hmm. Funnily enough, the episodes, episode 1 and 2, was so much better for that.
I agree. Absolutely,
they had much more exposition, like actual exposition. Because like too much exposition is bad, but too little exposition is just as bad. Mm-hmm. And show vert not tell is good, but they don't explain a hell of a lot with the showing method. It works, I think. It doesn't make the game bad. But when they started doing sequels and they wanted to have that narrative told, it doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah, it was definitely...
Coincidentally... That's why I don't think Half-Life Alyx is going to be... That's why I'm kind of iffy on Half-Life Alyx, because I don't think it's going to tell us anything we didn't already know.
Yeah, I think it's... I think that it'll be a fun game to play, and by the time it's out, hopefully VR will be good enough that I'll be willing to purchase a VR headset. But the thing about it is that, like, they've always been very big, like, Valve in general has always been very big on factor instead of form, right? They've always been really big on just making sure that the gameplay itself was good, which is fine. They've been very big on making sure that, like, the systems that they're using are new and revolutionary, and they try to change the gaming ecosystem. But a lot of their just story kind of falls apart, right? The whole idea, if what we got from the lead writer of the Half-Life story, the episode or Epistle 3. If what we get from there, that
even then, oh shit,
it explains a little bit, but honestly, it just raises more questions, right?
Like, no, that's the thing. It still ends on a fucking cliffhanger.
It's like, even if, and I mean, I think that's the closest we're gonna get at this point to what's gonna happen or what was supposed to happen in Half-Life 3. Even if that is the end, right? If that is like the thing that happened, it's just like, well, what the fuck? Are you just gonna like? Is this
what actually happened?
Is this just going to keep going forever, or are we just going to keep, like,
think about that. Yeah, we didn't learn... In Epistle 3, you don't learn shit about fucking G-Man. You don't learn shit about Eli Vance's fucking relation to G-Man. Mm-hmm. You don't learn shit about fucking Breen or how he come back or what happened to him or whatever, other than that he's a slug and that fucking Gordon kind of wants to kill him. Out of mercy, I mean, basically. you learn nothing. You know?
It
goes literally nowhere.
So it's just like... I appreciate Half-Life for what it is, for what they've done with the series.
Absolutely.
But it is not the strongest narrative. It really, really isn't. No, and people don't like to hear that.
It's funny because when Half-Life 1 came out, for the record, Half-Life 1 was considered a very, very powerful narrative experience because there weren't that many narrative experiences at the time. But by the time Half-Life 2 came out, we had a lot more narrative experiences. Like, right? And keeping in mind that the thing about Half-Life is that Half-Life came out roughly around the same time as System Shock 2, which also ends on a cliffhanger, but for the most part has a much more satisfying conclusion from start to finish than Half-Life does. So,
Yeah, it's just one of those things where they're the first into the area, right? It is kind of understandable. When you're the first of anything, you're never going to be the best. You're just going to be the innovator, right? And that's important, but generally, the people who do the best with something are the people who are wave 2, right? Once you get to wave 3 and wave 4 and wave 5, it starts to become less successful because there's so many people already in the space. But we can see this with lots of things, like YouTube, for example. The first wave of YouTubers, most of them are gone. They didn't really make any money off of becoming internet sensations and huge people on YouTube. They made nothing, right? The second wave, that when they started, those are the people that are the big people on YouTube now. Those are the people who really are making bank, who really have these giant communities. But people who are on wave 3 and wave 4 and wave 5, like I would say us, it's a lot more difficult for us to get our foots in the door. We have more information on how to do it. We have more resources. We have more, like ability, more everything. But so does everyone else. So it's much more difficult for someone like us to get our foot in the door now with that kind of thing. So I can give Valve, you know, the benefit of the fact that they're always the first one in. They're always wave one with the things that they do. So I gotta give them that, right? It's not much, but I gotta give them that. But anyways, that's probably enough about that. There's a couple things left to talk about here. So this is something that I want to bring up. I want to actually... How bad is this? How bad is this Twitch clip, by the way? Is it, like, real bad? Like, can we watch this on stream?
No, before watching this clip, let's explain a little bit about it. Okay, so recently, I don't know if you guys follow Twitch news specifically, but there's a Twitch streamer called Sleepy Mia. Fucking chick streamer. She has a dog that has a collapsed trachea, so it randomly coughs on stream. It's funny because the reason why I actually bring this up is because it makes me worried for Bag a lot, because Bag's dog will fucking cough randomly on stream, for instance. And I'd like to point out that no, it's a thing, right? But the difference between you and your dog coughing and her and this clip is, the point is, I don't know if you should play it on stream, because, I mean, she did get banned for it, right? Okay. Two-week suspension. The thing about it here is that what happens in the clip specifically is she's talking about some random shit. Her dog starts barking, right? So she goes to deal with the dog, which apparently in her words is play fighting. She goes to play fight with the dog. But all you hear, because the camera's situated on her kitchen and stuff like that, all you fucking hear in the background is her screaming, going, "You're being a fucking zoomer? Are you fucking zooming? I'm gonna beat your ass! Fucking beat your ass!" And then she comes back and she just casually says, "Oh yeah, you know, guys, sometimes you just gotta beat your fucking dog."
Jesus.
And of course and the thing is that it's supposed to clearly be a joke, and I think if you are a Sleepy Mia viewer, within the context of her character, it probably is funny. But as somebody who doesn't watch her and just watched that clip, if you were fucking Twitch moderators, if you were Twitch staff and that clip got reported to you, and that was the first fucking time you interacted with Sleepy Mia, yeah, it would look pretty fucking weird. It wouldn't look great. Because, I mean, again, the first thing you hear is her screaming at her dog because he's zooming, and I don't even know what that is. Apparently zooming is when, like, the dog gets really excited and starts running around and shit.
It's called
And,
zooming.
I mean, you don't do that to a dog anyways. It's like screaming at a dog in a really fucking, like, high fucking tone. That's not going to calm them down. They don't know what they're doing is wrong. You don't go, "Fuck, what are you doing? Stop doing this shit!" I mean, yeah, you do it because you're frustrated, right? But that doesn't actually help the situation.
Alright, we're gonna watch it, so give me a second here.
Okay. I'm not, so go watch them if you want to watch it. It's fucking awful. But honestly, knowing the context, in my opinion, doesn't make it better. Tell me when you've done.
Yeah. So we're gonna watch
I'll just video.
Yeah. We're gonna put him in the bed between me, Manny, and Tank. Oh yeah. I'm sure we could all fit. Where am I gonna go then? You are too dark for Tank to like you. Uh-oh. Zoomy? Are you zooming? Are you zooming?
Okay. Holy shit. So... Alright. Fuck. Okay, so, yeah.
Yeah, if you didn't have any context of who she is or what her personality is like on stream, it would probably feel really bad. And you don't know what the worst part about it is?
It still felt bad, dude. Even just watching that, because it felt bad.
The problem here is that she's very deadpan at the end. Now, that could be a thing that she is. She just makes deadpan kind of jokes, and she's just like that, right? But again, all this kind of play fighting often happens off screen. And so when you do it off screen and come going, "Haha, we're just play fighting, guys," that doesn't sound sincere whatsoever.
We're just play fighting.
And then and then random Twitters were saying, "Hey, I was right beside her at convention. This is unacceptable." It's like, yeah, just because you fucking think she's nice in person doesn't mean she isn't a fucking animal abuser, though. That's not how that works. Fucking the people that are most likely going to murder you are people that you fucking know and trust.
Yep,
and then they fucking stab you in the ballsack. Like, you don't...
That's not a good
point being here is that I agree that Twitch should have probably investigated more and seen if this was a relatively normal thing, and if in context of her personality and of her stream, if it was fine. So I think that should have been fixed. For the record, I don't think we as viewers can we don't have to do that. We don't have to like, if I got sent this clip, then yeah, I'm allowed to judge it based entirely on that clip, because I don't have to I'm not going to ban her. My judgment on her based on this clip is irrelevant to anything, right? Who gives a fuck? But the argument that people have made against Twitch mods is that they probably should have done a little bit more investigation. And I don't necessarily disagree with that, but at the same time, that clip is really bad.
Yeah, so I fully agree that Twitch, there's been a lot of prominent people talking about this recently, but like Critical has talked about this. You remember I sent you the thing about Pay Money Wubby about what happened with him, right?
Yeah.
And like Critical has kind of talked about this, how the mod team at Twitch is they just seem like they're above everyone else, right? They just seem like this broken off sect of the company that just doesn't answer to anyone. It just feels like
before we get banned.
Yeah, I know, right? Like retaliation, whatever. But it just feels like
we're not big enough. We're not big enough to survive that.
Yeah. So the idea is that these are people that just you just don't know what's gonna happen, right? It's like they don't go out of their way to investigate things. They don't
maybe the
try
problem is
to
that
do
they
that.
have. Maybe the problem is they have too much autonomy on their own.
Yeah, sure, that could be it.
And balances for themselves. So it's not necessarily that the moderator staff is bad. It could be a lot like Reddit. So the thing about Reddit mods is moderators on Reddit get a lot of shit. The thing about Reddit moderation, if you've never had a subreddit, is that all of the moderators can kind of do whatever they want, independently of everyone else. So if one moderator decides to act on their own without consulting the other moderators, that of course is going to make all of the moderators look bad. But only one of the moderators did that. And the reality is that could be the situation with Twitch moderators, where the majority of them are good and they're being ruined by the one bad apple. Again, that's a case of too much autonomy given to each individual person.
Yeah.
I don't know, because obviously I wouldn't know. I don't work for Twitch at all. So
yeah, it's
So who knows?
It's just something where it's like we don't really know, and it just seems like it just seems so obvious. Where it's like in the case of Pay Money Wubby, right? He had permission from the restaurant, written permission from the restaurant.
Yeah.
And all they had to do, literally all they had to do, is their partner manager or whoever. That's all they had to do was just ask.
Had to contact them, yeah. Yeah, and the thing about this is that the worst part I think about this is that ultimately those suspensions get overridden. Somebody realizes that it's kind of dumb. But again, would they have been overridden to, I don't know, us, for instance? Because we're a much smaller community.
No, of course not.
I can make a huge think about it, but who gives a shit? Nobody knows who we are.
No one's gonna care.
That's why I'm always questioning. That's why you always say, for instance, it's good publicity. But I say, yeah, it doesn't matter if it's good publicity if nobody knows who we are to begin with. It's not.
Yeah, I mean,
it's only good publicity if it goes viral, and the chances of it going viral are still as likely as the chances of anything going viral, unless you've got fucking a billion fucking subs like PewDiePie. So yeah, I don't like biting the hornet, putting my hand in the hornet's nest.
If there was a way to and the thing about it is, as well, is I think I have a little bit more reach of being able to talk to more people just because of my connections, but it still won't completely matter, right? Like it's still going to end up being one of those things where it's like, you may just get fucked. I mean, the thing about it is they generally don't permaban people for anything like that. Like, you have to do something really bad to get permabanned on Twitch, very obviously. But, it's still one of those things.
Even Sleepy Mia only got a 14-day suspension.
Yeah.
So...
So, yeah. I mean, you gotta be really bad to get permabanned, but these people who do it as their job, right? Because for me and for Mag, this isn't, our source of livelihood at the moment, right? Obviously, if it ever became that, we would be a little bit more concerned. But right now, this isn't our main source of income. And I think it's supplemental.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? It should be noted that there's no job security for content creators and influencers at all. I mean, the reality, actually, to be specific, is there is no job security for entertainers in general, which is one of the reasons why voice actors, for instance, unionize like fuck, or why things like the Screen Actors Guild exists. But they don't exist for Twitch streamers or YouTubers or any of that, which is actually quite an interesting thing.
There's not really a way for them to, is the problem.
How do we make a union?
It's the people that own it. It's the same probability of Amazon workers creating a union, right? And because it's the same parent company. So I just think that Amazon has proven that they have so much clout and so much weight that they can throw around that if something like that happens, either they just wouldn't care. I mean, it doesn't really seem like they care very much with all of the things happening with Facebook Gaming and with Mixer recently. Have you seen anything big that Twitch has done? Like, I mean,
what, against Mixer?
Like, no, it's just like improving their service so that people stop leaving.
I mean, maybe not, but again, I don't think people are leaving to go to Mixer because of the Twitch service being worse. I think a lot of people are leaving Mixer. I think a lot of streamers are leaving Mixer because they're getting better contracts, and I think a lot of the fans of those streamers are leaving because their favorite streamers are leaving.
Well, that's the thing.
I don't actually think...
You know that Twitch does contracts, right?
Yes, I know that. But my point being, yes, I understand that. But my point is that I don't think that people are leaving Twitch, streamers or viewers, because of something that Twitch is not offering that isn't specifically money. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Right? That is to say that I don't think people are leaving because of the features on Twitch or the lack thereof. I don't even have you used Mixer? Because I have. There's not that many. I don't know of any actual features that would make me want to use it specifically over Twitch. Especially when Twitch has the API, and the API is great. Things like extensions and shit. Mm-hmm. Mixer doesn't have nearly as much of that as Twitch does. So the reason I think Twitch is not doing anything to support themselves in this matter is the same reason why Steam doesn't do anything against Epic Games software. Because they don't see them as a threat currently. So why waste money? Why waste money devoting resources trying to defend yourself from an attack you don't actually think is worth defending yourself from?
I'm just worried about that. I'm just worried about that, like, even just that, right? That in and of itself. The fact that they feel that they don't have to defend themselves.
So you think they're getting complacent, perhaps? Which,
yeah.
Yeah,
so
that might be true.
If they get that complacent, right? Because the thing about it is that Facebook and Microsoft, the thing about it is that if Facebook in particular is I think more of a dangerous competitor, because Twitch itself does not have that much money, right? Sure, Microsoft and Amazon both have tons of money, but Mixer and Twitch...
But the thing about Facebook... Yeah, the thing about Facebook is that Facebook, one, has so many more users than Twitch, and two, is completely willing to sell every single piece of information you put on there for millions of dollars.
So they
actually make money.
The thing that kind of worries me, right, is that that Facebook is willing to do whatever, and because it's benefiting their own direct platform. Amazon is not going to be as likely to be like, hey dude, let's put in fucking millions and millions and millions of dollars to this thing that isn't even close to our main source of income.
But at the same time, I don't necessarily think that if Facebook decided to devote as much money as Twitch does, I don't think that would necessarily go well for Facebook. Because the reality here is that the reason why Twitch costs so much money, the reason why services such as Twitch and YouTube basically make no profit, is because storing that amount of data and serving that amount of bandwidth on a daily basis costs millions and millions and millions of dollars. And paying the people to maintain it also costs millions and millions and millions of dollars. And the reality is that ad revenue and subscriptions, right, just simply do not make nearly as much money as they spend in bandwidth costs. And the reality is that despite how rich Facebook is, I don't think that their wealth would necessarily make it any easier for them. At some point, the reality is they're still going to lose money on it. And if that, just because they're selling your data, I mean, it's not like Twitch and YouTube don't sell every piece of data you have. I mean, look at Google does, we know that. And YouTube still makes no money. So, I mean, they kind of do, to be fair. They haven't lost as much money as they have.
I think that Facebook is a much more profitable business than YouTube, though.
Yeah, but that's because they don't fucking have billions and billions of people serving bandwidth fucking videos every single day. They don't have nearly as much video traffic as YouTube does. But if they did have as much I wouldn't be surprised.
I kind of have some actual information here because of my job. Facebook serves a lot of data. I'm not saying they don't serve. I'm saying, do they serve more than Twitch and YouTube do on a daily basis? They probably serve more than Twitch. They probably serve more than Twitch by a large amount.
But I don't think they serve more than YouTube.
But YouTube, they probably do not. The thing about it is that the idea with Facebook is that with Facebook, the amount of data that they serve, the idea is that when you go on Facebook and you scroll down through videos, right? Those videos play no matter what, regardless of what you're doing. So those videos are auto-playing to everyone on Facebook. All of the billions of people.
Yeah, at the same time, the billions of people that are using Facebook are mostly fucking old people, because all the young people stopped going to Facebook after their fucking old parents.
And those old people watch a lot of videos. I've talked to my dad about this. Go ahead.
That's why they fucking... Well, that's why fucking Facebook brought out Instagram, so they can keep all the young people. And WhatsApp. Makes sense.
I've talked to my dad about this. A lot of older people consume a lot of video.
Just because, yeah, they just scroll down the fucking list and watch whatever shows up. They don't give a fuck. I mean, look at if my dad knew how to use Facebook, it'd be terrible. Terrible.
So that's the thing, is that Facebook actually serves a lot of data. But the thing about Facebook as well, and I think this is the big reason that a lot of creators are moving from Twitch to Facebook, is that think about this. Does Twitch care how well you do? I mean, ultimately a little bit, right? So the thing about it is that if some big streamer moves to Facebook, right? Facebook is heavily invested in trying to build that community, right? Build that thing. You're going to have someone at Facebook that's going to be like, all right, so what do you need? What can we do? What can we do to get this to you? What can we do? They're going to serve ads about these people just automatically.
Not if you're new. Again, the point being here is that but that's because you have an established following. You've already got a proven record of having an actual following.
Yeah,
if
sure.
you or I decided to go to Facebook, we'd be back at square one.
Of course, I wouldn't do it.
Any YouTuber with at least a few thousand fucking viewers, like if you get a couple thousand views on your YouTube channel every fucking day, right? On all your videos rather, then you're pretty much guaranteed to be able to get instant affiliate or partner status on either Twitch, Facebook or whatever, because you have a proven record of having a following. And that matters, right? Like legit, one of the guys I watch on YouTube, his name is Ashens, right? He's a British YouTuber that fucking reviews shit from dollar stores. He decided he was going to do Twitch. Do retro games on Twitch once or twice a week, right? And you know what he did? You know how this worked? He got his fucking agent to contact Twitch for him, and he got instant partner. Bam.
I'm not surprised.
Why? Because he has 1.7 million fucking subscribers on fucking YouTube. Of course he's gonna do it. But that, of course, Facebook is gonna fucking kowtow to your wishes at that point. But that's because you are far more likely to actually give them a return on their investment than we would be. So I'm not sure I'm convinced that alone is a valid argument for Facebook being better.
So
I still support Twitch.
I wouldn't say that it would be as them
Don't ban me, Twitch,
better.
please.
I think it's more so of saying that Facebook is actively investing in themselves right now, whereas I don't feel that Twitch is.
But I think that's because they have to. That is
sure.
Like, innovation.
Do
innovation
they have to,
happens because of necessity. What, dude?
Does Facebook have to do anything?
Yes,
they're so big that they can't.
Yes, they
can't
do.
Fail.
No, but they're trying to convert people from other services to use Facebook. That's the difference.
Mm-hmm.
So they're investing a lot of their money on conversion. Twitch don't have to do that because everyone just uses Twitch. It's considered the de facto fucking thing. So I think that it makes sense that Facebook or even Mixer, Microsoft try to be innovative because that's a necessity. Innovation comes out of necessity, but Twitch don't feel the need to be innovative. It's the same reason why phones fucking are innovative now, because everyone fucking doesn't need a new one, so we gotta have fucking folding ones that fold in half and you can swallow.
That you can swallow. Is that what they're turning into now?
Why not, man? Fucking phones is food. You fucking text someone you don't like, you eat it.
So let's see here. There's a couple more things that I want to talk about real quick. Nothing really big.
No.
One thing interesting is we've
already been fucking doing it for an hour already. We already have topics in.
If anybody remembers, I mentioned this a bit, but there was $4 Steam controllers, well €4 Steam controllers that came out that they were selling for.
That's such a bad idea.
Apparently, Valve fucked up pretty hard there because they're canceling all of those orders right now. They're just mass canceling a whole bunch of orders because of how many people ordered them. They're just losing like millions of dollars.
So the thing about it was simply that most people were completely willing to pay. Point being here is that they've decided to not. So they've closed down production for all of the Steam controllers. And I think the reason for that is the reality is that many people would have been fine with trying out the controllers, but they weren't prepared to pay as much as Valve wanted them to pay. So the moment that Valve goes, hey, why don't you pay $5 instead? Everyone's like, yeah, I'll pay $5 to try out this new controller. So the reality here is that Valve may have been able to keep production going if they had did it at a cheaper price, but at the same time they may not have made money on that. So
yeah, most likely not. Yeah, that's the thing about that is that getting yourselves into a very, very specific market, because the thing about it is the market for controllers is pretty tiny. There's basically two controllers, right?
Of course.
Well,
because everyone
three.
just has
Technically,
a controller
there's
for the
three.
console. Well, there's three, but everyone has the controller for the console they want, and every single one of those controllers, the Xbox One controller, the PlayStation 4 controller, and the Nintendo Switch Pro controller specifically, all of those are Bluetooth enabled and can work on a computer. So if you have those consoles, right, then you're just going to get those. And if you don't have those consoles and you want to get a controller, then buy the Xbox One. I agree with, because it's way better.
Yeah,
It just feels way more comfortable.
I 100%
The
agree
fact,
with
like,
him.
I mean, whereas this is my Switch controller, right? So it's on Xbox. I could go get one, but fuck that. The point being here is that an Xbox controller has the analog stick where the D-pad would be on a PlayStation controller, and that feels so much fucking more comfortable than the PlayStation for over longer periods. It only matters if you're playing a game like if you play a platformer where the the D-pad is slightly more comfortable, but then it's like, the amount of games that you'll probably be doing that with is so few. Well, unless you're me, and then I just use keyboard. So
yeah, right.
but yeah, it's basically if you're going to buy a controller and you're a PC player, buy either the Pro controller for Switch or the Xbox One one. But the Xbox One one will work better because Microsoft.
Yeah, that's
Well, the Xbox's one will work better.
honestly, that's pretty much it.
I've never tried it. Have you tried it?
Have I tried what?
The fucking Valve one.
The Valve one? No, I haven't tried it. Is it okay?
I haven't tried it.
Oh, well, neither of us have tried it, then, so we can't give you any information on it.
they would never have. Yeah, I've heard it's good when you get used to it, but it's very bizarre. It has a bit of a learning curve.
The flatness of it. See, I'm very on the side of that. Physical controls are generally much better or much more accurate than estimated controls are. So in a lot of games, like a D-pad in general is going to be much more accurate than a joystick ever will be. However, there's some limit to the amount of different directions you can get with it. When I look at the Valve controller, I see that thing on the right, and I'm just like,
what the fuck is this? It's fucking alien.
Yeah. So
yeah, but the thing is, and that's what most people say, but then after they've used it, they seemingly like it. And I think it's because you have more precision in the end. And also you can make quicker movements than you would be able to with an analog.
interesting.
I think that's the real benefits of it from what I've read. But I've
So
never
yeah,
tried it,
I mean, I've never tried it. If I was able to get it for €4, then maybe I'd try it. But at this point, I have an Xbox One controller, multiples of them at this point. So it's like, what's the point, you know? But but yeah.
Yeah, and
so
and also
that's
they sell for like $100. They sell for like $100 on eBay now because a bunch of scalpers bought them out.
Yeah, right. But I mean, that's pretty much gonna be it though. There's not really much else to talk about, and we've hit over our hour. We're always over time, dude. Pretty much always happens. But that's gonna be it.
Like 20 minutes over.
So remember to join the Two-Step Discord, which I'm going to post that link now. Oh, the invite code's gone.
Yeah, no, I got it.
Okay.
I got it.
I'm just gonna copy it out of my.
I don't know why though. I'm not sure
weird.
why it just kind of vanishes. I'm gonna look that up after stream.
You have to make it specifically.
Curious.
I can make a
No,
like
but
right
we did
now.
that.
Here, let me show you. I can make a.
No, but I did that. Look, I fucking did that.
Yo.
The problem here is that if I fucking do the YouTube fucking like video after this and the Discord link is not permanent, then it's gonna be kind of a bitch, right? I don't get it. It was permanent.
That one should be.
I mean,
permanent. The Eki
if it's not permanent, I'm taking you to court.
Okay. Are we gonna go to Kangaroo Court?
We're going to fucking Kangaroo Court. Hell yes. No, but look at the invite code list. Look at the invite list. It still says ...
Oh, you know why that is?
So you
know why that is?
Why?
We're both fucking idiots.
Stream mode. Oh, we're in fucking stream mode. Holy shit.
Oh.
Fucking Monka is.
Anyways, that's it, guys. Join the Discord. Follow us on our Twitch channels. Subscribe to the YouTube. You can find, if you're listening on YouTube, remember that you can always find links to everything in the description below, as well as in the biographies. If you're on those other platforms that we use, but unwittingly, you know, do whatever. You know how to get to us. Come over to YouTube. You're much better off listening there. Better quality. You're going to get the actual visuals of what you see. We can be like, hey, look at this, and you can be like, you can use your eyes and open them up and go
it's
like, oh wow,
that's
much more
fun and enjoyable. Come to YouTube. It's good. This is a very visual podcast. There's a reason we stream it.
It really is a very visual podcast. Like you need to be able to see
which is a bit of an anomaly, but you know, it's an anomaly. I mean, but it is, you know. I just picked up a mango.
That's going to be it. So we will catch you guys next week, and have a good night.